The miraculous journey of Job. Discover the divine transformation and sacred blessings revealed. In the land of Uz, in the 3rd year of Jehoiakim, there lived a man named Job, blameless and upright. He feared God and shunned evil. Esteemed as the greatest man among all the people of the East, Job's days were filled with lavish feasts, celebrating with his 7 sons and 3 daughters. In the reverence of Yahweh, he would arise every morning and offer sacrifices on behalf of his children, ensuring they remained in right standing with the Almighty. But on an ordinary day, bathed in the brilliance of the morn, the celestial realms stirred. Within the heavenly courts, a wager brewed between God and the accuser, known as Satan. Does Job fear God for no reason? He taunted, casting doubt upon the purity of Job's faith. He insinuated that, deprived of his blessings, Job would curse the very God he served. Yet God, with profound understanding of righteous hearts and unwavering truth, permitted the challenge, knowing Job's unwavering fidelity would withstand the storm. As the sun dipped low in the sky, an earth-shattering cacophony interrupted Job's tranquil existence. News arrived that his oxen, donkeys, and sheep had been taken by marauders. Flames devoured his vast herds. Each report fell like hail upon his heart, eradicating his peace. In solemn mourning, he tore his garments, falling prostrate on the ground, uttering the haunting words, "The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away, blessed be the name of the Lord." Despair clawed at Job's soul in the days that followed, as fresh tidings crashed like waves upon him. A great wind toppled the house where his children gathered, and they perished in an instant. From the heights of divine favor to the depths of sorrow, Job's world crumbled as he was afflicted with painful sores. His wife, witnessing the depth of his suffering, urged him to abandon his integrity. Yet Job's response was a testament etched in faith: shall we receive good from God, and shall we not receive evil? In this unbearable agony, 3 friends Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar heard of Job's calamity and rushed to his side, bringing with them the intent to comfort. However, their words morphed into instruments of confusion, prying into the divine justice they could not grasp. Who, being innocent, has ever perished? They queried, their theological explanations only amplifying Job's desolation. As the world spun in its chaotic rhythm, Job lifted his voice in lamentation. Why is light given to those in misery? He cried out to the heavens, yearning for answers from the Almighty. The curtain of suffering shrouded his spirit, revealing a mystery behind the veil of divine purpose. Before we continue with this incredible biblical account, I want to make sure you don't miss any of these powerful scripture stories. Click the bell icon and select All Notifications. These biblical narratives have transformed countless lives throughout history. If God's word through this story is blessing you, please like and share with someone who needs to hear about God's faithfulness today. Tell me in the comments, which biblical story has most impacted your faith journey? I'm always amazed how God's word speaks to hearts across generations. Now let's continue with what the Lord did next. The stage was set for the heavens to respond, and Job's heart remained suspended between despair and the glimmers of divine grace. Awaiting the sovereign hand of God, the tension thickened in the air, intertwining suffering with unanswered questions. Job pondered, did he fear God only for the blessings he received? In that moment of aching silence, a profound mystery awaited resolution, echoing through the ages, a journey of faith forged in the fires of trial, where the character of God loomed large, promising revelations beyond human comprehension. And so it was, in the stillness of the night, that Job sat in the ashes, his spirit heavy with sorrow and burdened by the weight of unanswered pleas. His skin bore the marks of affliction, and silence draped around him like a shroud. As the stars twinkled in the vast expanse above, he longed for the presence of the Almighty, for the succor of his voice. In the midst of his ache, Eliphaz the Temanite spoke first, his voice hanging in the air like a brittle whisper. In my vision, I beheld by night, and behold, the Spirit of God came to me. In this vision, I asked, what is man that you make so much of him, that you give him so much attention? With these words, he endeavored to draw Job from the precipice of despair, yet the essence of his counsel only served to kindle the flames of Job's inner turmoil. Consider, Job, who has been innocent ever perished? And where were the upright ever cut off? To this, Job's heart swelled with indignation. You speak of innocence, yet here I stand, unjustly condemned by the very trials you claim are the fruits of my transgressions. Did I not seek to uphold righteousness? Did I not turn away from every evil? I call upon the heavens to bear witness to my plight. Bildad the Shuhite responded sharply, How long will you speak these things? Your words are empty, and your heart is full of bitterness. Yet, if you seek God earnestly and plead with the Almighty, if you are pure and upright, surely He will arise for you. With an unwavering spirit, Job lifted his head to the heavens. I know my Redeemer lives, he declared, his voice firm amidst the tempest that surrounded him. Though my world has crumbled, and though I sit here in ashes, my hope abides. What is my iniquity? What is my sin? Show me my transgression. As the night thickened, Zophar chimed with vehemence, Know this, God is greater than man, and you cannot comprehend his ways. Yet in using lofty words, he overlooked the heart of Job, who longed for understanding, for a direct audience with his Creator. In truth, in the depths of his despair, Job's lament was a prayer reaching for the divine. Show me your face, O God. Speak to me in this darkness. And even as the words encircled the air, thick with grief, a whisper began to stir, born not of earth but from heaven's domain. The divine silence that had enveloped Job's life began to tremble with the prospect of a response. The ground beneath him seemed to vibrate as if all of creation awaited the unfolding of God's will. Job, with eyes still cast toward the heavens, felt the stirrings of hope ignite within him. Was there purpose in all this suffering? Was he destined not merely to endure, but to witness the revelation of God's sovereign design, a plan that extended beyond his comprehension? Job's heart fluttered with anticipation, for in his deepest brokenness, the seeds of faith would bloom anew, pointing toward an unfathomable divine encounter on the horizon. Thus, the skies waited, and Job remained vigilant, knowing that his pleas were not cast into the void. The time was approaching when the Almighty would emerge from the whirlwind, revealing truths that would reshape his understanding and pierce the darkness with the light of his glory. The journey was far from over. In that divine tapestry, every thread of suffering held significance. What divine purpose lay hidden in this unfolding drama of Job's life, and how might it echo throughout the ages, a mystery waiting to be unveiled in perfect timing? And it came to pass, as the night wore on, that Job's heart was troubled within him, for the weight of his anguish pressed heavily upon his soul. He surveyed his friends, who had become as strangers, grappling with their own understanding of the divine will. Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar exchanged glances, the unspoken accusation lingering in their eyes. Behold, Eliphaz said again, The just shall live by his faith. Yet, Job, cast not away your confidence. Let not despair lead your spirit into darkness. But Job, emboldened by the fire of his turmoil, replied, What comfort you provide, my friends! Your words are as a fleeting shadow, casting no light upon my affliction. I seek my Creator, and in the clamor of opinions, his silence swells like a vast ocean. And where is your hope? Bildad implored, searching the depths of Job's countenance. Is it not written that those who seek him find mercy? Job clenched his fists, and with fervor he declared, My hope is not lost. Even if it seems that I am encircled by shadows, my heart still yearns for the dawn of his revelation. I challenge the heavens to show me my sin, for I am a servant of the Most High. Zophar, struggling to contain his anger, countered, God does not pervert justice. Perhaps your heart is hiding sin from your own eyes. Humble yourself before him, for the sufferings of the righteous are to purify. In this tumult of speeches, the air crackled with tension, yet it also resonated with a faint stir that was palpable, a divine movement that beckoned Job's spirit into deeper understanding. In his mind, echoes of heaven's promise called. Blessed are the pure in heart, he murmured, for they shall see God. And suddenly, as if the heavens themselves had paused to hear his voice, Job felt an overwhelming presence surround him. The night brightened, and the stars dimmed in comparison to the glory that began to fill the space around him. Arise, O heart! he whispered, trembling before the unseen power that enveloped him. The winds began to swirl, gathering intensity as if the earth were stirring beneath the pressure of celestial decree. Job's three friends fell silent, their own voices choking upon the realization that they had stood upon the brink of something far greater than mere discourse. With every fiber of his being, Job cried out, "O God, speak to me. For thy servant longs to understand the depths of this suffering." As if fulfilling a decree, the voice of the Almighty broke through the heavens, reverberating like thunder coursing through the purest of hearts. "Who is this that darkens counsel by words without knowledge?" The earth trembled at that utterance, and Job, awestruck, fell to his knees, feeling the heaviness of the divine gaze upon him. "I am unworthy, O Lord." His voice shook with reverence, "Yet I implore you, let me grasp the meaning of my trials." The skies rumbled with an impending revelation, and Job's heart hung on the precipice of divine wisdom yet to be unveiled. What mysteries would the Almighty reveal in response to his anguished cries? The air thickened with anticipation, holding the promise of a transformation that would forever alter Job's life and the lives of those around him. For in the midst of suffering lay the seeds of salvation, and Job was destined to bear witness to the mighty hand of God, an unfolding plan that would transcend time itself and echo through the ages. Thus awaited, Job's faith remained unshakable as he stood, stripped of pretense, before the majesty of God. Could it be that the truth he sought would echo not only in his heart but resound throughout the generations, and that even now, the groundwork for remarkable blessing was being laid? Then the Lord continued, "Gird up your loins like a man, for I will demand of you, and you will answer me." The voice of God reverberated as if the very foundations of creation yielded to its authority. Job trembled, and the weight of the moment bore down upon him, illuminating his very existence. "Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Declare if you have understanding. Who hath laid the measures thereof, if you know? Or who hath stretched the line upon it?" Each question hung in the air, laden with divine wisdom, as Job's heart quickened. The vastness of God's creation unfurled within his mind, stirring both awe and humility. "O Lord," he whispered, "I am but dust. How can I comprehend the heavens and the earth?" The Lord pressed further, "Have you commanded the morning since your days began? Have you caused the dayspring to know its place? The majesty of the cosmos, the rhythm of the day and night, all meticulously crafted by divine hands." Job's thoughts reeled, drowning in the depths of God's unfathomable knowledge. "Tell me," the Lord beckoned, "if you know so much. Who can take a beast from the prey? Who is able to draw out Leviathan with a hook? Will you play with him as with a bird? Or bind him for thy maidens?" Job, in silence, prostrated his spirit under the weight of these mighty truths. He saw how the grand design of creation was sustained by the Creator's hands, each creature playing its part within his sovereign plan. "Reverence be upon my heart," Job breathed, as realization dawned like the breaking of day. In the presence of such overwhelming greatness, his profound sufferings took on a new perspective. "I have spoken that which I understood not, things too wonderful for me, which I knew not." The heavens pulsed with energy, and the voice of God, mighty and yet tender, arose again, "I will not conceal my mysteries from you. For who among you can see the depth of my mercy? Can you break the chains of darkness? Can you loose the cords of sin that bind the souls of men?" Job's heart was flooded with understanding, a vision surged in his mind, redeeming love woven throughout the tapestry of his sufferings. "Indeed, O Sovereign," he answered, "for your ways are higher than our ways. Your thoughts are not our thoughts." With each inquiry, the Lord revealed not only his power but the profound depth of his compassion. "Through your trials, I weave hope for the nations. For I desire to show mercy where judgment seems just. Behold, witness how I bring beauty from ashes, joy from mourning, and praise from the spirit of heaviness." In that moment, the presence of the Almighty shifted, and a light sweetened the air. Shadows began to disperse, for Job sensed the blossoming of hope springing forth amidst his agony. "You take my afflictions, O God, and fashion them into vessels of purpose." The voice of the Lord deepened with divine authority, and Job, know this, your journey is not for naught. A great cloud of witnesses watches as you walk in faith. For I will restore to you double, and your days shall be crowned with blessing. As the echoes of God's promise settled upon him, Job's spirit soared. His heart filled with a fervor that transcended understanding, for what seemed like an end was merely the threshold of a glorious beginning. Thus, Job stood amidst the tempest of his trials, awaiting the fulfillment of God's sovereign plan, knowing that even now, the seeds of restoration were being sown, and the story of his faith would glorify the name of the Lord for generations to come. For in this divine tapestry of suffering and redemption, the echoes of hope resounded. Christ had come to bind the broken-hearted. Then the Lord spoke again, filling the expanse with his glorious presence. Shall the one who contends with the Almighty instruct him? He who rebukes God, let him answer. Job's heart beat fiercely within his chest, knowing that he stood upon the precipice of divine revelation. The weight of God's questions echoed through his mind as he considered his own frailty. Your wisdom cannot match my understanding, the Almighty continued. Where were you when I marked off the skies with a boundary, or set the heavens in its place? Can you fathom the mysteries of the deep? Your greatness, O God, surpasses all, Job murmured, his voice a whisper in the vastness. I beseech you to reveal to me the truth of these matters. As he spoke, a flicker of hope ignited within him, a hope that his trials might not be in vain, that purpose dwelled in his suffering. Can you draw forth the constellation of Pleiades or loose the cords of Orion? Do you know the ordinances of the heavens or set their dominion over the earth? God's inquiries came forth like roaring waves upon a shore, each wave reminding Job of the vastness of divine design and the limits of his own understanding. Then, in a moment of stillness, the Lord brought forth a different question, one that pierced through to the depths of Job's heart. What is mankind that you are mindful of him, the Son of Man that you care for him? Job pondered this profound truth, feeling the intensity of his own insignificance yet strangely comforted by the attention of the Almighty. Who am I, Lord? He exclaimed, that your hand should be upon me so? Even through your suffering, the Lord replied with unparalleled tenderness, I will weave your story into the greatest of tapestries, one that reveals my mercy to those who will come after you. Your pain shall give rise to praises yet unsung. Your endurance shall be a testament to future generations. Job, overwhelmed by the weight of these promises, could no longer keep silent. My Redeemer lives. He declared, his spirit igniting with renewed vigor. I know that my vindication is in you, O Lord. Though my flesh may fail, I trust in your unending love. The skies shimmered as if responding to the fervor in Job's heart. My servant, God said, you shall be a beacon of hope. When your trials are complete, the world shall witness the greatness of my restoration. Your friends shall gather around you, and together you will testify to the wonders I have done. As the sun began to set, casting a golden hue upon the earth, Job fell to his knees, the truth of God's promise enveloping him like a sacred mantle. You bring forth light from darkness, he worshipped, tears flowing from his eyes. In you, I have places of hope expressed in sorrow. With this, the Lord's voice thundered once more, prepare your heart, Job, for the days of your trial draw close to an end. I shall reveal my power and purpose in ways you have not yet imagined. Can you see the horizon where your joy shall be made complete? In the depths of his soul, Job grasped a new reality. His suffering was but a thread within a grand design. The promise of restoration, double what he had lost, awaited the dawn. Thus, the stage was set, for like the rising sun, a new chapter was unfurling. The sovereign plan of the Almighty was weaving together the fragments of Job's despair into a mosaic of hope and redemption. What God would accomplish through this faithful servant would reverberate throughout the ages, as many would come to know that even in the greatest trials, the Lord's mercy endures forever. For, indeed, the time was drawing near when the righteous would see the fulfillment of his glorious promises, bound tightly within his sovereign will. Then the Lord continued to speak to Job from the whirlwind, even as the heavens resounded with the echo of his authority. Gird up your loins like a man, I will demand of you, and you shall answer me, he declared, instilling both reverence and dread in Job's heart. Will you disannul my judgment? Will you condemn me that you may be justified? The Almighty's voice rose, carrying the weight of truth. The heavens trembled, and it was as if all creation paused in breathless anticipation of what would unveil. Do you have an arm like God, or can you thunder with a voice like His? With these words, God depicted His might, displaying the vastness of His power through creations that shook the earth, the roaring lions, the watchful eagles, and the mighty behemoth, a creature that walked upon the land with unparalleled strength, to which even the bravest of men would tremble. Behold, behemoth, which I made as I made you, he eats grass like an ox. Behold, the strength is in his loins, and his power is in the muscles of his belly, the Lord elaborated, revealing even the minutest details of his design, casting light upon his sovereign hand working in all things. Job listened, his heart etched with the awareness of divine supremacy. I have spoken, O Lord, Job reverently replied, but now, I see who you truly are. I acquiesce to your eternal wisdom, which governs even the tempest that surrounds me. Yet God, in His boundless grace, sought to reveal more than simply His power. Can you draw out Leviathan with a hook, or snare his tongue with a line which you lower? The Almighty posed, directing Job toward the depths of a great mystery hidden within His creation, urging him to confront the enigmatic forces of life that seemed insurmountable. These things, Job, are but reflections of my greatness, he continued, speaking with compassion. For it is in the understanding of the great Leviathan, the struggles you face, that you will glean my mercy and purpose. He is a creature of might, yet I control him as I control the tides and the stars. Job's heart swelled with a mix of awe and thanksgiving, as he sensed the intricacies of God's majestic plan threading through his trials. Even in the shadow of darkness, there is hope, he uttered, realizing that the very depths of despair had brought him to a clearer revelation of God's faithfulness. The heavens lit up as God's final question rolled forth, who can confront me and endure? Would you have a voice against your Maker? Each syllable resonated like a clarion call, summoning Job to humility, yet simultaneously lifting him towards a new dawn of understanding. I have uttered what I did not understand, things too wonderful for me, which I did not know, Job confessed, surrendering his grasp on understanding to embrace the mystery of God's purposes. Then it was that the Almighty turned to Job with a promise. Now, be prepared, for I shall restore the years that the locust has eaten, the judgment you despised shall bring forth a harvest of blessings. Those who witness shall say, see what the Lord has done. As the sky painted itself with the hues of twilight, Job was left with a profound anticipation, knowing that the hands of the Almighty were not only shaping his suffering but also molding the world's understanding of grace and restoration. For the Lord was preparing to reveal something glorious through his servant Job, a resurgence of faith that would not just uplift one man, but inspire nations and generations yet to come, as the time of divine restoration drew near, signaling unprecedented blessings waiting on the horizon. Little did Job know that this period of trial was but the precursor to an outpouring of blessings that would illuminate the lives of countless souls across all ages. What would emerge from the chrysalis of suffering was a tale spun by the divine weaver himself, a story destined to echo through eternity. Then the Lord spoke once more, and the intensity of his presence filled the atmosphere around Job. Shall the one who contends with the Almighty correct him? Let him who accuses God answer him. The challenge hung in the air like a solemn decree, echoing through the caverns of Job's heart. Job's voice trembled, for he had gained a new perspective. I am unworthy, how can I reply to you? I put my hand over my mouth. I spoke once, but I have no answer twice, but I will say no more. His understanding deepened, recognizing the chasm that lay between human frailty and divine omnipotence. Then the Lord continued, listen now, and I will speak, I will question you, and you shall answer me. He beckoned Job to fortify himself, promising revelations that would unveil mysteries beyond what man could fathom. Would you discredit my justice? Would you condemn me to justify yourself? The heavens quaked as the Almighty laid bare the depths of his wisdom, revealing the threads of justice intricately woven through even the roughest fabric of human experience. Have you an arm like God? Can you thunder with a voice like his? Deck yourself now with majesty and splendor, and array yourself in glory and beauty. Unleash the fury of your wrath, the Lord urged, painting an image of divine authority that contrasted starkly with Job's earthly plight. Job's heart sank under the weight of his own smallness, yet within it, seeds of hope began to sprout. O Lord, I see now that your ways are above my ways, and your thoughts exceed my comprehension. Forgive my ignorance. He cried, lamenting over his previous doubts and lamentations. Behold, now Behemoth, which I made as I made you, he eats grass like an ox, the Lord proclaimed again, revealing his mighty creation as both an object lesson and a testament to his power. Job beheld the Behemoth, a participant in creation, fully dependent on the Lord's provision. His strength is in his loins, and his power is in the muscles of his belly. He moves with ease among the vastness of the earth, and yet he bows not to man, for he knows the Creator's voice. As Job pondered these truths, he was filled with a profound sense of wonder. I am but dust and ashes, he confessed, realizing how often he had sought to understand what was beyond human grasp. Then the Lord redirected Job's focus to the great Leviathan, the creature of the sea that mocked human strength. Can you draw him out with a hook? Or press down his tongue with a cord? No one is fierce enough to rouse him, who then is able to stand against me? Job understood in that moment that both these creatures were reflections of God's sovereignty and power in all creation. They exhibited strength, yet were subject to his command. I cannot contend with your might, O Lord, I surrender all to your purpose, knowing that even unknown trials carry your intention for my life, he fervently acknowledged. The Lord then spoke of his deeper purposes, for I, the Lord, hold the tapestry of time and the hearts of men. Even in suffering lies the promise of restoration. Your anguish shall become a symphony of praise, and the barren land shall bear fruit. In that sacred moment, hope kindled within Job, igniting a vision of restoration that awaited just beyond the horizon of his suffering. The winds of divine change began to swirl, even as the heavens prepared for a mighty unveiling. Yet unbeknownst to Job, the Lord was preparing a testimony that would resound through ages. The time has come, declared the Almighty, for my faithful servant to witness my deliverance. And as the whispers of divine purpose enveloped Job, it awaited its glorious manifestation, a plan entwined with redemption and promise that transcended even the trials that had consumed his days. But what he could not yet see, was the magnitude of the blessings that flowed forth from suffering, a revelation set to unfold before the eyes of the world. And it came to pass after the Lord had spoken these words to Job that a deep stillness enveloped the earth, and all creation seemed to hold its breath, awaiting the unfolding of God's sovereign will. Job, with his heart now attuned to the rhythms of divine purpose, remained in solemn contemplation. Lord, he whispered, you have shown me wonders that are too profound for understanding, and yet I desire to see more of your ways. In the depths of my sorrow, I perceive the greatness of your majesty. What is my small life against the vastness of your plans? Then the Lord replied, you shall indeed see, O Job, and your faith shall be a beacon for those who seek understanding. For I hold the stars in their courses, and I call them by name. Thus, I shall weave your story into the tapestry of generations yet unborn. Your trials shall not be in vain. As the words of the Almighty echoed in his soul, Job felt a stirring within him, as though each promise was planting seeds of divine assurance. He recalled the morning of his days, his pleas to the heavens, and the silence that followed. Each moment now seemed a step toward a greater purpose, a call to reveal God's glory through perseverance and faith. Then, what must I do, O Lord? Job inquired, a longing for clarity igniting in his heart. How shall I witness this deliverance? Arise and prepare, the Lord commanded, for you have not yet fathomed the depth of your restoration. I shall double your former blessings, and your name shall be praised among all nations. Even your friends, who spoke without understanding, shall come to you seeking wisdom, for in their hearts they will recognize the power of the testimony I place upon you. Job's soul surged with hope. In the darkness of his despair, the light of this promise illuminated the path before him. I are yours, Lord. My heart is ready for your work, and whatever trials lie ahead, I will face them with your strength. As the sun rose over the horizon, painting the sky with hues of gold and crimson, a whisper of expectation rustled through the trees. The air was charged with divine anticipation, declaring that something extraordinary was about to unfold. In the distance, a group approached his friends who had once come to mourn and now bore the weight of their misguided counsel. They stopped at a safe distance, hesitant, for they had witnessed Job's plight and the glory of God that now enveloped him. Then the Lord spoke again, "Job, call them near, speak truth to them as they yearn for understanding." And Job raised his voice, calling unto them, "Come, and hear the words the Lord has spoken to me. For the Almighty has shown me that even in the depths of despair, His purposes are unfathomable, and His grace is sufficient for all trials." As his friends drew near, they felt the weight of the holy presence surrounding Job, acknowledging the change that had taken root in his heart. They heard the proclamation of God's glory among the witnesses, and their eyes were opened to the truth that in suffering lies a pathway to divine revelation. And so, the day turned toward evening, filled with the murmurs of awe and the anticipation of restoration. Job stood in the strength of his God, and within him stirred the promise of transformation, a testimony poised to echo through the ages. Yet as the shadows lengthened, a profound mystery lingered, whispering through the winds. What greater wonders awaited Job now that his heart had yielded to the divine orchestration? How would his life alter the course of many, revealing the fullness of God's plans in ways yet unseen? As the night fell, an unexpected blessing loomed, one that would change everything for the faithful servant of the Lord. And it came to pass as Job spoke to his friends, they drew near, hearts beating in unison with the divine rhythm that now surrounded them. Eliphaz, the Temanite, raised his voice, saying, "Job, your words resonate with wisdom untold. We have journeyed in darkness, yet the light you bear now guides us home." Bildad, the Shuhite, looked with awe upon Job, proclaiming, "Indeed, the hand of God rests upon you, and I see His favor shines brightly. Speak, that we may understand the mysteries of His providence." Zophar, the Naamathite, whose heart was heavy with contrition, added, "Forgive us, O friend, for our tongue spoke in ignorance. We came to comfort, yet we were but shadows. Now we beseech you, tell us what the Lord has revealed." Job, filled with the Spirit of the Most High, smiled gently at his friends. "What you witness is the mercy of the Lord, who has opened my eyes to His depths," he began. "In my suffering, I have been refined as gold, and the trials I endured have given birth to this understanding, that God's ways are not ours, and His thoughts are far above our thoughts." As the moon ascended, casting silver light upon the gathering, Job recounted the wondrous visions bestowed upon him, how the Almighty had held the foundations of the earth and measured the waters in the hollow of His hand, Isaiah 40 verse 12. He spoke of the creation bursting forth in joy, of the stars rejoicing at their appointed paths, Job 38 verse 7, each one bearing witness to God's faithful promises. "Brothers, see how the Lord restores," Job exclaimed with fervent joy. "For as I have sown in tears, I shall reap in joy," Psalm 126 verse 5, "and His compassion has not failed me. He shall redeem my years, even as the locusts have eaten," Joel 2 verse 25, "and in His timing, I shall be whole." His friends listened intently, their hearts ablaze with newfound understanding. They beheld the miracle unfolding not only in Job's life but also in their spirits, turning from doubt to faith, from sorrow to hope. Then the Lord spoke again to Job, saying, "You shall pray for your friends, and I shall accept your intercession on their behalf," Job 42 verse 8. "For through your suffering, they shall find their own redemption, as they turn with open hearts towards me." Job, humbled by the command, bowed his head in prayer. "O compassionate Father, purge their hearts of misunderstanding and fill them with your light. Grant them wisdom to see your hand in all things, and lead them to the truth that sets free." As he prayed, a wind stirred amongst them, a gentle breeze infused with the fragrance of divine grace, wrapping around all present like a cloak of reassurance. The very heavens seemed to nod in agreement, affirming the depths of Job's prayer. With the dawn approaching, a singular revelation dawned upon him. There yet remains a narrative to unfold, one that echoes through ages yet to come. God's plan is a tapestry woven with threads of loss and restoration, a truth that shall transcend time and deliver hope to those who suffer. And as a new day broke, radiant with promise, a lingering mystery filled the air. What hidden blessings awaited Job, poised to erupt like a spring from the depths of the earth? And how would the restoration of one man's faith ignite a flame that would illuminate nations, revealing the inexhaustible wonder of God's sovereign plan yet uncharted? And it came to pass that the dawn broke over the land of Uz, golden rays of sunlight weaving through the remnants of darkness, igniting the sky with a promise of transformation. Job, now imbued with the Spirit of the Most High, stood resolute in the presence of his friends. They marveled at the change that had overtaken him, their hearts aflame with the hope rekindled through his truths. "Behold," Job proclaimed, "for the love of the Lord has encircled me like a shield, unto the last remnants of grief." His voice resonated with the power of divine revelation, each word a testament to the mercy that had pierced the veil of despair. "The Lord restored me in ways beyond comprehension, redeeming my losses and turning them into vessels of glory." As the sun continued its ascent, Job turned his gaze toward the horizon, sensing the stirring of something mighty approaching, a divine orchestration that would elevate his testimony beyond mere words, transforming every tear into an offering of praise. "The Lord has not merely returned what was taken, he has filled my cup to overflowing." Job exclaimed joyfully, exuding the peace that passes all understanding. The hearts of his friends, once weighted by misguided counsel, now thrummed in unison with hope revived. Eliphaz stepped forward, tears glistening in his eyes. "Job, your resilience calls us higher. We, who have faltered in our understanding, witness a greater truth," he spoke earnestly. "For now we see that in your trials, God has threaded his purpose, revealing how suffering bears the seeds of redemption." Bildad took up the spirit of awe, declaring, "Within your afflictions, we see salvation reflected." Job, you've crafted a psalm from your pain, a melody that resounds through the heavens, inviting us all to walk in faith. And Zophar chimed in with fervor, "Your story shall echo through time, reminding generations that even in desolation, God is at work even now, fashioning beauty from ashes." As Job listened, he felt the weight of his own journey crystallizing into something profound, not for himself alone, but for all who would wander through the valleys of despondency. "This is but the beginning. I shall share my testimony far and wide, for the Lord's name must be glorified." Then the voice of the Almighty thundered once more, resonating with warmth and authority, "Job, you have not only endured but emerged renewed. Your faithful witness has become a lighthouse for the weary, guiding those in darkness into my marvelous light. Indeed, I shall honor you, O Lord." Job cried out, his hands lifted high as a living sacrifice, "For you have bound my heart to your promises, and now I shall live to declare your marvels." Then came the decree of restoration, as the Lord spoke, "Job, your blessings shall be doubled. Your cattle shall multiply, your land shall flourish, and the days of your joy will outnumber the days of your sorrow. This shall be a testament to the unyielding grace I pour into the hearts of those who trust in me." With this affirmation, the heavens opened, a cascade of blessings showering upon Job and his land. His herds increased tenfold, and his home was filled once more with the laughter of children, each one a reminder of a new beginning, a divine promise fulfilled. Job's daughters were beautiful beyond measure, and their grace captivated the hearts of all who beheld them. "They shall be remembered," Job decreed, "for their names shall be inscribed in the annals of time." Thus, the legacy of his family grew, resonating with the story of God's faithfulness on every lip.as. Job gathered his beloved friends, their hearts intertwined, they shared in the joy of his restoration. "Let us recount the wonders the Lord has done," he urged, "and testify that he is faithful, for through every trial, his hand has guided us." Thus, in the land of Uz, hope was reborn from the ashes of despair, echoing through generations, a narrative weaving resilience with divine grace, an indelible truth stamped upon the hearts of the people. Job's story would forever stand as a proclamation of redemption, where faith found its footing amid sorrow, and God's glory was revealed in every broken yet blessed heart. And so, they concluded together, "May we labor not only for ourselves but for the countless souls yet to come, proclaiming to the world the truth, God's mercy endures forever. With this resounding truth sending ripples through the ages, Job continued to shine as a beacon of hope, forever echoing the voice of the Almighty. Dear friends, as we reflect upon the life of Job and the divine transformation that unfolded through his trials, let us respond in faith. Subscribe immediately to stay connected to God's Word, for each story carries the power to transform lives. Leave a like now to help us spread God's truth through this sacred message. It truly matters. Comment below with your spiritual reflections and let us know how Job's journey has impacted your faith, for every testimony uplifts our hearts. And don't wait even one more second to share this powerful testimony with at least 5 friends who need to hear God's truth. It might just ignite their faith in ways unimaginable. Together, let us glorify the name of the Lord and declare His faithfulness from the rooftops.